let's try a little thought experiment. Just for a second, I want you to imagine something truly terrifying. If you disappeared tomorrow, completely vanished without a trace, and the only clue you left behind was a single cryptic word.
What exactly would that final clue mean? Welcome to this explainer from the Forgotten Mysteries Chronicles. Today, we're opening up a very dark, deeply unsettling historical case file, digging into an event the world tried really hard to bury. We are heading into a macabre, forgotten corner of the year 1518.
Part 1. One woman dances alone. Picture this. It's Strasbourg, July 1518. A woman named Frau Trophia steps out of her half-timbered home, right onto a narrow, cobbled street, and she just begins to dance, uncontrollably, without any music at all.
She started on July 14th, and she danced completely alone, keeping up this grueling, constant movement for a week, only stopping when she physically passed out from sleep deprivation, before waking up and continuing. And then, this isolated anomaly escalated, fast. Within days, her husband and 36 other people joined her in this relentless motion. By August, it was an absolute town-wide frenzy, afflicting up to 400 people. It wouldn't even begin to subside until early September.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer visceral horror described in the historical eyewitness accounts. Observers described their movements as spasmodic, full of violent convulsions, noting their vacant and expressionless eyes. These people were not joyful. They were trapped. They danced while thrashing violently, their bodies drenched in sweat, until blood literally pooled in their swollen feet and bled right through the soles of their shoes. Often they would cry out for help, completely unable to stop themselves.
Part 2. The Fatal Cure. When faced with an entire street of bleeding, crying people dancing against their will, the city council and local physicians were completely baffled. No one had a clue what the cause was, and because they didn't understand it, they prescribed a bizarre and fatal cure, ordering victims to simply dance themselves free.
The authorities inadvertently made the crisis so much worse. They refurbished the local guild halls and literally built stages to give the victims space. They even hired local musicians to keep the tempo going, believing the continuous movement would cool their overheated blood. And finally, they provided holy red shoes, sprinkled with holy water and painted with crosses. They honestly believed this was a divine punishment from St. Vitus, and this deeply superstitious ritual ended up driving even more terrified citizens to join the frenzy, just out of fear, to prove they were free of sin.
Part 3. The Death Toll. Here is the terrifying, stark reality of the situation. The human body is simply not built for continuous, relentless physical exertion for weeks on end. It just can't do it. The dancers began to collapse. Their bodies started shutting down. Victims who couldn't stop moving were dying from extreme exhaustion, profound starvation, and severe dehydration.
15. At its absolute peak, historical analysts estimate 15 people were dying every single day. They were dropping dead right in the streets from extreme exhaustion, massive heart attacks, and strokes, completely unable to stop their limbs from moving until the very second their hearts finally gave out.
Part 4. Ergot, Hysteria, or Demons. So in this middle section of our Forgotten Mysteries Chronicles explainer, we really need to forensically break down the modern theories trying to explain this mass death, because for centuries the debate has raged on.
Today, we are weighing the two leading scientific theories side by side. On one side, ergot poisoning. This is the accidental ingestion of toxic, psychoactive fungi that commonly grows on damp rye grain used for making bread. On the other side, stress-induced psychosis, or a mass psychogenic illness brought on by the immense psychological pressure of famine, rampant disease, and the really deep-seated superstition tormenting the people of Alsace during that era.
But this is where the unresolved tension comes in, because there are fatal flaws in that food poisoning theory. I mean, yes, ergotamine is structurally related to LSD, but actually, scratch that. It's not just that it's related, it's that, as medical historians point out, LSD-like chemicals do not make hundreds of people react identically by dancing for days on end without stopping. That just doesn't happen. Plus, these outbreaks historically spanned entirely different climates and crops along the Rhine and Moselle rivers. Food poisoning just doesn't fit the sheer scale and uniformity of the horror. And this brilliantly illustrates why so many scholars point to mass psychogenic illness, specifically a neurological condition known as chorea. Chorea involves random, intricate, and unintentional movements that rapidly flit from body part to body part.
A stress-induced altered state of consciousness fueled by mass starvation and this absolute terrifying belief in a cursing saint could actually trap a highly superstitious town in a deadly collective trance. It was a literal, physical manifestation of their deepest psychological trauma.
Part 5. The Final Verdict. Now, I refuse to wrap this mystery up in a neat little bow for you, because the unsettling historical truth is that to this day, no single scientific theory perfectly explains how or why a month-long death dance consumed an entire city.
Was it the neurological breakdown of a deeply traumatized society and environmental poisoning we still don't fully understand? Or is there something else lingering in the dark of 1518 that modern science still just can't quantify? Look at the facts we've uncovered today. I challenge you, drop your own theories down in the comments. What do you believe really happened? And hey, make sure you subscribe because we are unearthing a new mystery every single day.
Tomorrow, the lost Viking settlement of Greenland. 500 people who simply ceased to exist. I promise you, it is another deeply unsettling historical case file that you absolutely will not want to miss. Until tomorrow, stay curious, stay skeptical, and never stop asking what really happened.